and I'll be your crying shoulder. I'll be the love suicide, and I'll be better when I'm older. I'll be the greatest fan of your life. And I dropped out, I burned up, I fought my way back from the dead. Tuned in, turned on, remember the thing that you said. I'll be your crying shoulder. I'll be the love suicide, and I'll be better when I'm older. I'll be the greatest fan of you. I'll be your crying shoulder. I'll be the love suicide, and I'll be better when I'm older. I'll be the greatest fan of your life. The greatest fan of your life.
I would like to dedicate this to you ladies out there, and maybe to a few of your husbands, if they're honest enough to admit that they read me too. When I sit down to write, it's for people like you that I do it. It's become very fashionable lately to ridicule romantic fiction. But in this world of chaos and violence, I don't think you can have enough romance, do you? People always ask writers, where do your ideas come from? Everywhere I go, I get asked the same question. Imagine if I ever make it into heaven, St. Peter's going to meet me in the gates and saying, hey, Paul, where do your ideas come from? Well, 10 years ago, when I got the biggest idea of my life, I headed off to a little hotel in Colorado and wrote all winter. The result was the first of the Mysery novels. When I leave here today, I'm going to that same hotel. No, ladies, I'm not going to tell you where it is. I'm going to sit in the same room. I'm going to write at the same hotel typewriter. And when I'm finished, I'll have one cigarette and a bottle of Dom Perignon, like I do every year. So, we'll be the new Paul Sheldon. I hope you like it as much as you do the others. Thank you for this truly, and I'll see you when the snow melts. I'm sorry, I almost forgot what I was trying to say. Ideas. Where do ideas come from? Well, 10 years ago, between my first divorce and my second divorce, I was on a plane from Munich to Denver for a sales conference, and I was very depressed. I sat next to this lady who was reading the newspaper, and I was reading over her shoulder like you do. And there was a small article about some tourists who were stranded in the Bahamas because of an Air Force strike. The headline read, "Misery in Paradise." I became fixated by that headline. I didn't make it to the sales conference. I resigned from my job, all because I had an idea in my head that just wouldn't go away. What if misery was a person? man from 1900 to 2004.
It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Don't do that, Paul. You get those legs talking again and they won't shut up. And I can't give you any more medication. I've given you too much as it is.
I can't do anything.
Do you know who I am? Oh, of course you do. I'm Annie Wilkes. I told you enough times.
How did I get here?
A miracle. There's no other word to describe it.
I can't remember anything.
There was a storm, but all the weathermen were saying it was going to head south towards New Mexico. Well, I was in Sidewinders getting feed for the livestock, and Andy Roberts said I'd better step on it if I wanted to get back up here before the storm hit. I said, Andy, that storm's going south. He said, no, it's changed its mind. Well, I had to get back here. There's no one else to feed the animals but me. You know, the nearest neighbors are the Reutermans, and they live miles away. Boy, they sure don't like me. I hadn't gone 5 miles when the storm hit. Oh, it came down fast. Up here it always does. I was just creeping along with my headlights when I saw the skid marks. An hour later, and they'd have been covered up completely by the snow. If I'd been on an upgrade, I don't think I would have stopped. Not very Christian of me, I know, but there were 3 inches on the road already. Even with 4-wheel drive, you can never be sure of getting going again. So I stopped and looked over the edge. That's when I saw your car, all topsy-turvy, half buried in the snow down by the river. I hooked it on down through the trees, and then I heard groaning. That was you, Paul.
I don't remember any of this.
Well, when I got you out of the car, you had that little bruise on your head, but it didn't look like anything. It was your legs. Oh, I could tell straight away your legs weren't right. Anyway, I knew I had to get you into the warm or you'd die. So I dragged you out into my truck. Whew, you weigh a ton. Lucky for you, I don't give up easy. And drove home as fast as I dared. I can smell the booze on your breath, Paul.
I've been drinking champagne because I just finished my book. Oh, my book.
Stupid is the word, Paul. Oh, I was sure you were going to die. I mean, I was so sure. But then you screamed, and I felt better because I knew you were going to live. While you were out, I got your driver's license. When I saw the name Paul Sheldon, I thought, there has to be a coincidence. Oh, but then I took the picture on the cover of Mysery in France, and then I got scared. I got real scared. I had to sit down and thought I was going to faint. Then I found your rider's skills card. Oh, and I knew you were Paul Sheldon. Oh boy, the Paul Sheldon.
Hey, you know who I am?
That's a laugh. I'm your #1 fan. Your #1 fan. Well, that's what's so miraculous. Before I went to get the feed, I stopped at Wilson's to check out the paperbacks. I was hoping Mysery's child would be out finally, but no such luck. I was actually thinking about you, Paul. You ran a fever for a while, but I knocked that out with some heparin. Oh, you had 1 or 2 close calls. You've been unconscious for most of the last 2 weeks. You owe me your life.
2 weeks? Been out 2 weeks?
I had to feed you intravenously at first. That's what the marks in your arms are.
Should I be in a hospital?
You're better than in a hospital because I'm a trained nurse. You won't get finer care anywhere. Now you better rest.
I was wondering if you found the bag in my car.
What kind of bag? You mean this? I was just fooling with you, you old silly. I took the liberty of looking inside it. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, no, of course not. I'm relieved that you got it.
Fast cars. Well, it can't be a Mysery novel. No cars in the 19th century, fast or otherwise. I took the liberty of glancing through it. I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all.
And if I read it, you don't mind?
Consider yourself privileged. You'll be the first person in the world to read it, apart from me.
Because I would never presume to do something like that without your permission, Paul. I respect you too much. In fact, Paul, I love you. Your creativity is all I meant.
I know. You're my #1 fan.
That's it. That's it, exactly. Oh, so you wouldn't mind if I read it in the spirit of fan love? I'm sorry it's not a Mysery novel. Oh, I hope you don't mind me saying that.
It's better than the Mystery novel. It's much better, actually. I've been planning that for the last 5 years. After taking the best work I've ever done.
And it must truly be great, Paul.
Oh, I don't know about that. Just to say, you might be looking at the work that makes you work at home board.
You're good. I knew you would be. Just reading your books, I knew you'd be good. Anyone who could think of Mysery Chastain, who could breathe life into someone like her, it just had to be good.
Listen, I was wondering if you could make a telephone call for me. My agent's going to be very worried.
Oh, sure, but the phone lines are down now because of the storm. Oh, time for your pills. 2 every 6 hours. Not before the hour, not 5 minutes until the hour, but on the hour.
Is this farm? Herd animals?
Not really. Half a dozen laying hens, a couple of cows, and Mysery. You won't think I'm very nice naming a sow after such a brave and beautiful woman, but I mean no disrespect. She's really very friendly. Oink, oink. Oink, oink, oink. Oink, 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 oink.